Hey everyone, Poce here. Welcome back. Another Genshin Impact video, also another Yae Miko video. Because obviously she's a news character, I want to talk about it, right? So, anyways, today we're gonna talk a bit about, just how to use her in general, right? Her moveset, all that stuff. We could talk about her Constellations a bit. We could talk about what the team comps, weapon choices, artifacts, all that stuff. So, anyways, let's get into it. So, Yae Miko, first of all, Electro character, surprise. Catalyst user as well. Even though she doesn't like actually use her catalyst when she's like attacking, it's just her thing, whatever the Stride Maidens use. I don't know what they're actually called. But yeah, like you barely ever see the catalyst like show up, right? Which I don't mind. I mean, none of the catalysts really look super cool, other than like Eye of Perception looks nice, Memory Dust looks nice, and like I think I like Solar Pearl, but most of the book catalysts are like kind of whatever. Conqueror's Verity's okay too, right? But yeah, anyways, let's get into her attacks. Mainly her starting from normal attack. Her normal attack's not anything super special, right? It's just a pretty standard, I guess, catalyst attacks, right? You got, pretty much is what it is. Her charge attack is actually slightly interesting. In that it actually hits multiple times, right? A target. I think it hits up to what, 4 times, and like on like big targets it hits like twice. So obviously it does, cost you a decent amount of stamina here. So like you might want to like hop cancel it or whatever, right? So it's like not as bad in terms of like time wise, because it does also take a bit of time to cast, right, for the whole animation, right? So better off, hop canceling or something, or dash if you want. It depends, right? So yeah, that's her normal attacks. Pretty simple, straightforward, right? Nothing too crazy there. You could also cancel it with her E as well, right? You could do like something like this, and then boom into your E, which is also nice. I mean, you still eat the stamina, but that's, I guess, another option, right? So anyways, let's I guess talk about the rest of her kit. In terms of her talents, again, her normal attack, the scale is not that great. I know mine's level 1, but you get the main idea. Again, her charge damage actually does a decent amount of damage, right? Especially with the multi hits, but normal attacks are kind of whatever, honestly. Not stopping anyone to main DPS with her. Obviously, if you really want, you could do it, right? Anyone could be a main DPS these days. People running Barbara's main DPS, so right. So all right. So her E basically, it has it's a move that sets down these turret. People call it turrets, right? Like things. Honestly, doesn't it remind you a bit of the what was that event called again? The TD event, Theater Maca. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. Macanixus? I no clue. It's like one of those turrets, right? Basically, right? And you could prop down 3 of these at the same time, and the more you have on field, right? If they're close enough, they will interact with each other and increase their levels, right? Maximum of level 3 can be reached, right? Unless you go Constellations, and then the higher level the turret, the more damage it does, which is honestly quite a significant amount of scaling, right? If you see over here again, level 4 you can only get with Constellations. But yeah, very short CD, right? Lasts for again for seconds over here, right? So do also keep that in mind while you're propping those down, right? Again, elemental skill, pretty standard. You just prop these down. The range isn't like super far, so you can't like do something like oh, they moved it back a bit, but like you can't go like super far and expect them to still interact with each other, because as you can see, the ones that do have leveled up have like a ring on it, and then for those who aren't connected don't have rings, right? And if you put all 3 close enough together, you'll get these double rings, which gives you level 3, right? No rings is level 1, 1 ring is level 2, 2 rings is level 3, just I guess easier to visualize just when you're off the field. Because again, she should be off the field a decent amount. She's a sub DPS after all, although for sub DPS she is on field quite a bit, unfortunately, which is I guess one of her shortcomings. Another shortcoming of this E is you can't snapshot, unfortunately. So like, you know, if you for example you Bennett buff her and then you swap her out, then like it you know, it goes back, or if the buff ends, right, it's not like Xiangling's Power Tornado or whatever, right? So you can't snapshot with it, unfortunately. The other thing is you aren't invulnerable when you do this, even though she does look like you know, she's teleporting around. If you're not careful, you will get caught. All right, the enemies will hit you, and it will hurt because her defenses aren't that great, which generally isn't that big of a deal since she's a sub DPS. You just set your turrets on here and then swap out, right, for the most part. So I mean, your defense not being that great, who cares? But if you're not careful, if you're trying to like dodge with these and you're not careful, you will get hurt, right? So that does kind of suck with her E, but her E is probably her main source of damage output, right? Even more so than her Q, because like her Q does a lot of burst damage, but like just sustained damage wise, her E probably beats it out, right? So there's that. So let's speaking of her burst, let's talk about her burst. Everyone has been talking about this burst. I've talked about it personally ad nauseum by this you know, time, right? Which is it does cost you a lot of energy. 90 cost should be among the highest in the game, right? 22-second CD, again, very, very high damage, right? So you have the initial skill damage, which is the initial cast, right? And then you have the Tenko Thunderball damage, which is additional damage. So what the Tenko Thunderball damage is, basically, if you have the turrets up, it'll consume the turrets, right? However turrets you have up, it'll consume all the turrets, and then it'll release a subsequent amount of these Tenko Thunderbolts for additional damage. So those are really, really key. You have to make sure you got 3 turrets up at the same time, right? Before you use your crew. Thankfully, it's very, very easy again to get these 3 turrets up, right? They last for a bit, not super long, but you know, they last for a bit. And if they're not, by the time, you know, a turret goes away, you definitely have another turret to replenish it, and then afterwards it ends the CD for all turrets. So basically, Yae Miko, when you play it right, you have basically 100% you know, uptime for your E turrets, right? So that should be, or near 100%. It's like 99, but there's like a split second after you use your Q and then setting up your turrets, you don't have it up. Okay, not big deal, right? So yeah, that's our Q. Again, energy cost, bit of an issue, right? So yeah, for her ult, again, you want to have all three turrets up, right? And then you go for the Q, and then it hits multiple times depending on how many turrets you have. So we got 4 hits over there. The first hit is the initial skill damage, and the 3 hits afterwards is just the turrets, and then it ends the CD of the turrets right afterwards. Pretty straightforward, right? All that. And yeah, as for your Ascension Talents, your first one, well, this was the one. This wasn't actually in the queue, but it's part of the queue because you know, however many turrets you destroy, again, you just get their cooldown back up again. And then your second one is every point of elemental mastery Yae Miko possesses will increase your turret's damage by 0.15%. So if you do get like elemental mastery as like a substat on your artifacts, actually not that bad, right? You still get it, right? I personally do still prefer attack percentage over elemental mastery, just because, like, you know, you're just getting more overall, right? Because you know, your ult can use it more than just your E, right? We'll talk about it more when we talk about artifacts. But yeah, that's basically her kit for the most part, right? If we want to talk about her constellations over here, her first constellation, Yakan's offering, you have for every Thunderbolt that you consume on your Q, it will restore 8 energy for yourself, right? So you get what, 24 energy back, right, if you have all 3, which is again very, very nice to help her Q, right? Right, especially if you do have a lot of issues with her with her energy recharge, this is definitely very, very nice, right? The second one increases the range by 60%, their attack range by 60%, not the connectivity range, but like the attack range, right? Which is nice, although honestly their attack range is actually pretty large initially to begin with. And then all these turrets start at level 2 when created, and then their max levels increase to 4, which is nice because that's definitely a solid amount of damage, right, on that. And then level 3 and level 5 obviously just like all the other ones. It's just you know, one's the E, one's the Q, right? And then over here, Constellation 4, when the Ascension Sakura lightning hits opponents, the electro damage bonus of all nearby parties members is increased for by 20 seconds for 20% for 5 seconds. It is only 5 seconds, but you know, that's good enough to get like a quick Q in, right? Whether it's with your Maiden or yourself, right? Or whatever other electro. There's not that many electro nukers. Like I guess Kujasara, Kuting, I guess, right? So there's that. What else? Your C6 will it makes your Ascension Sakura's attack ignore 60% of the opponent's defense. So yeah, as you can see, like the Constellations, a lot of them just really just increase your where is it? Your Ascension Sakura's stuff, right? So she is a pretty E-oriented unit, right? So the higher you go, the more valuable her E is. Parsley, again, I'd recommend C1 if you do have major energy issues with her, right? Especially if you're not running her with like Raiden or whatever. The other ones, I mean, these are just all really expensive, honestly. So yeah, I mean, they're all good. None of these are bad. None of these are bad at all, right? All of these are good. It just really depends on how much you could afford, right? So anyways, all right, now let's talk about her weapon choice. Let's start with 5 stars. Clearly the best choice for her is Kagura's Verity. I've seen a lot of people talk about, you know, Kagura's Verity versus for example, what was it? The Wood Sith, right? I don't know why the name escaped me for a second. Generally Kagura's Verity is a bit better. If you want to talk about, you know, how much is it really worth though, right? In terms of spending gems, maybe there could be a conversation over there, but Kagura's Verity does generally get you the best numbers, right? Especially like if you're comparing, like, for example, R1 to R5, R1 Kagura Verity, R5 Wood Sith, right? You generally should be getting more burst damage on with the Wood Sith, right? But the thing is, it is a bit RNG, right? It is a bit RNG. For example, if you do get Elemental Mastery on Wood Sith, then like you're just not getting that much more on your burst damage, right? So Kagura's Verity is a bit more consistent, right? Even though, again, Wood Sith does do really great things, and in my opinion, probably the next best weapon over here. It's just not as consistent as Kagura's Verity. Also, Kagura's Verity just gives you, you know, a bit better, just more consistent damage on her E as well, right? So there's also that. So anyways, yeah, Kagura's Verity is definitely her best weapon, I'd say. As for any of the other 5-star weapons, I mean, they're all fine. I mean, well, I wouldn't say they're all fine. I wouldn't be putting glow in there, but Memory Dust I probably wouldn't really use either, because of the shield thing, obviously. It really depends on what you can get from that, team comp wise, right? For the most part, or based on enemies maybe a bit, but yeah, these two are both fine. These two are both fine. Just you know, just in terms of their substats, right, and their base attack being relatively high, right? So, you know, these are both fine in terms of just 5-star weapons. And then again, looking into some 4-star weapons, some banner 4-star weapons. Again, like I mentioned before, Wood Sith is very good for it, right? Like Wood Sith is again, like Wood Sith just it's one of the rare catalyst users that could really make use of all 3, because again, with Elemental Mastery, it does still, you know, she still get buffs from the elemental mastery to her E damage, right? So again, there's just a bit of a downside with the inconsistency issue, right? But if you want like peak, you know, big damage, right? What's with this is great, is fantastic. Also low-key Solar Pearl pretty good too, I'd say. Solar Pearl is pretty good too. You know, it is crit rate substat, so there is that, I guess. Just you know, make sure you don't, you know, over crit with her, and also just to remember to throw in a normal attack before, right, to activate Solar Pearl's passive, right, full passive. What else? I mean, nothing else is like crazy, like 4-star weapons wise, because like those two are really, in my opinion, probably the best, just for I guess banner for 4-star weapons. Like stuff like sacrificial fragments, I don't really care that much. Like the elemental mastery subset is decent, but again, generally I just take more damage overall, and also like I don't care about resetting the E. The E has like a 4-second cooldown or something. Like, who cares? Yeah, like I mentioned, I don't really care too much about the rest of these weapons. In terms of like purely like free to play weapons, there's actually a decent amount of really nice options, I'd say, right? For example, you have the, where is it? The Hakushin Ring is really nice, right? It's for the fact that first of all, you have ER substats, which is decent if you are, again, really down bad on energy recharge, right? And then you know, with the electro elemental reactions, you get the extra elemental reaction, or elemental damage boost, right? So that would be nice, especially if you're, you know, running multiple electro characters on your team, as long as you could trigger the reactions, right? So that's nice. Mappa is also decent, right? Where is it? There's Mappa. Mar? Anyways, also really nice. You have an EM subset, which again, she could also use as well, right? Yeah, Yae Miko, and then you also get the elemental damage bonus there as well, which is nice, right? So both of these are solid options. If you want like anything else, some free ones. Let's see. Are these Dodoko's not that great. Frostbear's not that great. I guess if you're really down, but like these are fine options, right? Just for the extra bit of like crit if you really want it. I guess. But yeah, that's I guess you know, just in terms of weapons, right? So yeah, number one again, Kagura Verity, if you could get it, and then if not, then you know, R5 Witsith is definitely very good, very good as well. I'd honestly take R5 Witsith over like a lot of the other 5-star catalysts there as well, right? So. All right, let's talk about some team comps, I guess. There's honestly a lot of different things that you can run her, with her, just because of like, just again how versatile she is, right? Like, again, she's kind of like in many ways Fischl, right? So a lot of teams that you could just insert Fischl, and you could throw her in there as well, right? And again, there's a lot of teams that you could just use, you know, Fischl, and just kind of how versatile her kit is, right? And anyways, let's talk about a few. First of all, obviously, a Yae team should have Yae. So you want Yae in your teams. Let's talk about some Raiden teams, because again, with Raiden, like Raiden's just complements her so well, right? Well, they complement each other relatively well, right? Because you know, with Yae Miko, you have the high energy cost, which is nice for Raiden's burst, and then Raiden's burst also, you know, Raiden could also help get energy recharge back for the very expensive Yae Miko, right? So yeah, also if you do have them at higher constellations, they could also help each other with the you know, extra electro damage bonus, all that stuff, right? So a lot of great things that they do together, obviously. If you want, you could run a 4 Inazuma women team, right? With Kurosara there as well, and then you could throw in Kokomi for healer slash you know, electro charge, right? So this could honestly work, right? Obviously, Sarah does. Do keep in mind, Yae Miko doesn't screenshot, or not screenshots, screenshot. Oh my god. Snapshot. So yeah, what you probably do want to do over here is you probably want to drop Yae Miko's turrets down before you use Asara's buff, right? And then you like all, because like if you use Sarah's buff first and then triple, you know, place her turrets and then go for the Q, it might not be you know, enough time, just because her buff does last very shortly, right? It's a very short duration. It's a very weird way of saying that. But yeah, you get a lot of electro particles with this team, obviously, right? And especially if you do have C6R, which I don't sadly. You also get that extra crit damage on your you know, electro characters there as well, right? And then yeah, again, Kokomi could heal. Is very great hydro applicator, right? Just a huge, you know, AoE hydro applicator. You could you get that going. There's some other things that you could swap her out for. Obviously, you could throw in instead you could throw in like a Bennett, like every other team. Super unoriginal, but you know, Bennett is Bennett. He does what he does. Heal, attack buffs, all that stuff. What I also do like as an option would be something like Jean, just for the fact that since Yae Miko doesn't snapshot, right, with her E, like it's probably better a lot of times to maybe just you know, Verdescent the opponent instead, right? I feel, right, gives you a bit more flexibility there. And obviously Jean could heal, but if you don't, you know, if you don't want to run the triple Electro and Azuma women, obviously you could swap it in for a bit of a better, I guess, Verdescent user, whether it's Kazuha or Venti, whichever one you have / want to use. Depends, right? Kazuha better damage wise, and Venti the very cool grouping thing, right? So either one of these, right, and then you could throw in again in that last slot, whether it's Kokomi or a Bennett or whatever sort of healer, right? So yeah. Or your Constellation 6 Chi-Chi. Anyways, so yeah, that's I guess one way you could build it. What else? You could actually run her with Eula as well, right? Because obviously Raiden and Eula very nice for the fact that you get the reaction, right, for the extra physical damage for Eula, and like throw in something like Diona, right? You get shield, some heals over there, cryo over here as well, right? So that could definitely be a nice option there as well, right? You could go overload if you want with something like Bennett and where's she, Xiangling, right? So you could do something like that, would be nice. And yeah, there's just a lot of options that you could run with both Raiden and Yae Miko, right? If you want some options without Raiden, you could definitely do it, right? You could definitely do without Raiden. You could do something like Yae, like something like a Yae, Sucrose, maybe Official for the you know, particles, and then like Bennett, something like this, right? You could do something like this, I feel. If you're really down bad, or if your like Official's not that great on energy recharge, you could like swap it in for Electro Traveler, which is just an absolute just energy battery, right? Electro Charger's like Electro Traveler's insane battery. Obviously you lose out with the very good damage that you get from Official, but you know, everyone does have Traveler, right, at least. So anyways, there's just some option you could throw in there, as I throw them in the wrong categories. What else? You can still run like the Eula team, right, even without Raiden. Like yeah, you could definitely be like a replacement for Raiden on like a Eula team. I do find Raiden a bit better, right? In this case, for the well, I guess there's upsides, downsides, with Raiden, it's better with the energy stuff, right? But with Yae Miko, she doesn't have as much like on-field time as Raiden, even though she does a decent amount. But anyways, yeah, you can still run her, right, with something like Rosaria and then Diona, right? So hopefully that helps with Eula's energy. But obviously, you're probably not going to be ulting with Yae too much. But again, you get the big damage from Eula, which is good compensation, right? What else can we do? For those who want to main DPS, if you really want to main DPS with Yae Miko, that's fine, right? You could run something like a Yae Miko with maybe like a Xingqiu, right, to proc the reaction. Then you got throw in like something like a Sucrose if you don't have any of the 5-star Anemo folks, and then like Bennett over here, right? Something like this. If you really want main DPS Yae Miko. I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to build main DPS Yae Miko just because it's very fun, right? I like main DPS Catalyst users. I think Catalyst is fun. Some people don't like Catalyst users, but I like Catalyst. I think they're fun personally. What else can we do? We can maybe runners as support. Speaking of Catalyst users, maybe like Yanfei, right? We could do. Let's see, Yanfei, probably Bennett, right? Where is he? Yanfei, Bennett. Just for overload on Yanfei, right? And someone else. Maybe like official for the extra energy again, or slash traveler, whatever. Oh, this team is not like super energy heavy, right? So maybe not. So yeah, something like that would probably be nice, right? Or if you again Raiden obviously, right? So yeah, again, a lot of options for team comps, right? For Yae Miko, just because again, like there's a lot of places that you can just throw in. Like you even run her in like a child team as well, right? Like child with Yae Miko something, and then that could maybe, obviously it's probably not like child's like best team, right? And a lot of these are probably not, right? But these are just some options. Not everyone has every single unit of the game, right? And also a lot of cases, especially for Spiral Abyss, right? Frees up, sometimes could free up a key, unit so you can run on the other team, right? So that's always a consideration when building teams as well. Moving on to artifacts. From what I've seen in terms of calculations, right? It does seem like Thunder Soother, 4-piece Thunder Soother does give you the best, just in terms of damage wise. There are a few points against it though. Obviously, if you can't get the passive to work, if you can't affect the enemy, with Electro, obviously not going to do anything for you, right? But if you can, this is really nice. Again, one of the downsides is you do have to farm that one domain. Which kind of sucks because there's not that many characters in the game that really use Thundering Fury and Thunder Soother, right? So a lot of like the parts, the resin, like cost wise, isn't really worth it. I feel. Although I mean, if you really like are farming it, I guess like Fischl could also use some of the drops from there as well. So if you're running her with Fischl, which again, they definitely run decently well together. So I guess there's that. But like, yeah, again, overall, might have a bit better damage, but I just feel a lot of times just resin wise not really worth it, right? Let's see, what are some other options? You could run like a 2-piece Thundering Fury with like 2-piece Thundering Fury with 2-piece, I don't know, any of the attack boost ones, whether it's this or what else? Shawarma, I can't pronounce it, bro. Or Gladiator, right? You can mix those two together, that could get you some decent results, or just these two if you really just do not want to farm this domain at all, right? I mean, I personally have a few parts, and this is what I run, right? Just because I have a few decent parts. Again, a lot of these sets, mix and match them, could give you decent results. Just go for like the ones that you could like roll like solid substats on mostly, obviously, but These are nice. I guess if you, again, really down bad on energy, you could go for you go for emblem as well, right? So yeah, that's artifacts. Pretty straightforward, right? Unless, you know, get some more just built for Yae Miko sort of artifacts, because they do that a lot. Honestly, they've been doing that a lot, right? In terms of you know, releasing character maybe seems a bit underwhelming initially, and then boom, months later they give you like an artifact that's like very, very good for, right? Like Kokomi, for example, a great example of that, right? I'd say. I'm pretty sure, right? Because I don't think the artifacts were out when she first came out. I mean, if not, then, you know, there's some other there are definitely other examples of that, right? Like Albedo, right? That would be one. So anyways, yeah, that's me this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoy them, guys. Thank the comments down below, like, share this video, subscribe to my channel for some more Genshin Impact content, and I'll see you guys in the next one then.